This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
Welcome back to another edition of The Secret to Everything, sponsored by thesecrettoeverything.com. This is Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and do we have a relevant show for you today? The stock market has hit, I think, record highs. I don't even know if it's ever been at 20,000. So definitely money is on people's minds, and the flow of money is on people's minds. We have a very special guest coming up after the first commercial break. Her name is Dr. Shirley K. Clark, and she has written a book entitled Blessed: How to Attract Wealth into Your Life. And I just have to go back like 4 or 5 years where Dr. Kimberly McGeorge wrote a book called The Secret to Everything: How to Manifest Wealth and Abundance in Your Life Now. So this is definitely in my wheelhouse. I can't wait to get a different perspective, a fresh perspective, and a new perspective from such a wonderful woman. I know you guys are going to absolutely love her. But you guys know me, I have to shake things up, right? So what I did before the show, just for you guys, I have the handy dandy X-Zone Collective Consciousness. You guys can Google that term because we don't really have time in this segment to talk about what the collective consciousness is. But like I said, Google the collective consciousness, but I happen to run a little thing called wealth beliefs that I have in a program in my handy dandy technology. And so I am going to share with you some wealth beliefs that came up in the collective conscious and unconscious, obviously, of the X-Zone audience. And I think it'll be very relevant for what we end up talking about. But some of them you may understand and some of you may not. So I'm going to start with the ones that will be very, very clear. So one of the huge ones that came up for you guys that is in your actual energy field, that is in your DNA, that might be in the cells of your body, is being too wealthy is a sin. Can you guys relate to that? I can. I was kind of taught that, being the middle class is the way to go, and being too wealthy, you get into some trouble, right? Too nice of cars, too nice of houses, you can afford to buy drugs. Well, gosh, poor people can afford to buy drugs too. So that's not the best argument for anything. So that's one of the big ones you guys had. And then here's one of the ones that you're missing, which is a travesty. And I know Shirley will have something to say about this after the commercial break. I carry the right frequency for wealth. So in other words, you guys, you do not carry the right frequency for wealth. So we can sit around all day and debate, oh gosh, why isn't it working? And why can't I get a new job or a promotion? And why isn't the money coming in to pay my bills? But as I teach, if you can only attract who you are being at any given time. So if you aren't carrying the right frequency to what this world works on magnetism to attract wealth, then we are in some trouble. Let's find another one. I have a wealth set point in my DNA. Whoa. And here's a secret. I've read most of Shirley's book that she's going to be talking about. And I think she's got some great stories about this. So we can not only come in with our own stories, that we're born with in our lives and our excuses and our reasons why we can't be wealthy or why it's difficult for us to be wealthy, but we can also come in with who are we a part of? You're a part of every single person that came before you on both sides, unless you're made in a lab, and then that's a whole nother Secret to Everything show. I don't think we won't go there, because we will at some point. But most of us humans that are on the planet right now came in with this wonderful thing called DNA. But is your DNA wonderful? Maybe it is. One of the things I talk about in my book is that people like, and I'll just use Trump, people like that are from an inheritance of wealth, that are from wealthy families, they actually have kind of like a wealth gene, and they pass that down to their children. Well, of course, there's the more practical points that they already have money, and when they pass down companies and money to their children. But you guys know what I mean. So some of us do have an excuse. We do come in with that genetic predisposition to maybe poverty, just like we come in with that genetic predisposition maybe to alcoholism or drug addiction or food addiction or a million, or, hey, mine's naps. We all got to have one, right? So let's find another one. I must spend all the money I have. I swear I have this one in my field. I'm going to have to run me later, because even as a teenager, money came in and money went out. And sometimes I even spent more money than I had. Can you guys relate to that? How many have credit cards and don't pay your bill in full every month? Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand. And you know what's so crazy about that, you guys? I could pay my bill in full every month. Why don't I? Is that cultural programming? Is that I must spend every, dime I have? Who knows? It's very, very interesting. All these things we're going to be getting into with our beautiful guest, Dr. Shirley K. Clark. She is the author of Blessed: How to Attract Wealth into Your Life. Check out all we have to offer on secrettoeverything.com. We will be back. I wish I could say with your questions, but this isn't live right now. We'll be back with a great discussion, I am sure, right here on The Secret to Everything on the X Zone with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Thank you so much for listening to The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. We do not take you for granted. Thank you for all the feedback. We do take you into much consideration when we plan our shows. And today we have a wonderful guest, Dr. Shirley K. Clark. She has written a book called Blessed and a whole bunch of other books too, which she'll probably tell us about later in the show. And the subtitle I love, How to Attract Wealth into Your Life. If we can get this accomplished in this hour, we will have done a great service to the world. So welcome to The Secret to Everything, Shirley.
Thank you, Dr. Kimberly. I'm so excited to be with you today. It's on, as we can say.
Simply wonderful. So in your book, and I love that you talk about this, you talk about so many things that it's just like, I'm like, yeah, go girl, preach it. Because you just talk about so many rich aspects of really having a wealthy mindset, but you don't stop there. You actually use the word frequency, which of course I love. You talk about the story, which I've been teaching about for 3 or 4 years. I've kind of moved on by now because if my people haven't dropped their stories by now, they're never going to. But
Right.
let's start though, to be a little facetious, with your story. Were you always this internationally wonderful publishing magnet, where you have all these things going on and you drive a nice car and you guys don't have to worry about how to pay your electric bill? Were you always wealthy and successful?
Well, the easy answer is definitely no. I do have the rags to riches story, but I want to kind of get away from that and say the issue for me was that my family grew up in the rural area of town, in the country area. So tobacco, priming tobacco, cornfields, that's what they knew. So, I was born into that. And so that's, I think, the biggest problem right away, Kimberly, is that I was born into an environment where education, anything that deals with living a different lifestyle that require, where you can have houses and homes. I just grew up in that. I was reared in that environment, so that scarred me and marred my whole life. So, no, I grew up in gross poverty. And so I recognize there are a lot of things I didn't know just because I grew up in that type of environment.
And one reason I encourage you guys to get this book and read her story for yourself that I actually love is you use the word survival. And it's so funny because you guys might look at me and some of you have written me and said, I just had somebody on Facebook say, oh, you're upper middle class, upper class. You have no idea what it's like not to pay your electric bill. Excuse me. Yes, I do. Excuse me. Yes, I do. And we can analyze, we're not here to talk about my life story, but we can analyze that up and down and all around. But the point is there was a time where for the same reason, I did grow up differently in an upper middle class home, I admit it, but Was I taught any better? Not necessarily. And isn't that interesting? Who was I taught by, Shirley? There's just so much in the book that we can talk about. Who I was taught by was the same people once we get out from our parents' home, we're all taught by, right? I was in college and I got all the credit card applications and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even have a job, Shirley. And they're giving me $400, $500, $600. It was free money to me. Seriously, I know that sounds stupid, but 18 years old, I'm like, free money. I can go to the shopping mall and buy whatever I want.
You have said a mouthful on all of that. What we've had to learn, for me, I really had to learn that the systems of this world is not really for us. So we have to etch out a new path when we get to talking about becoming wealthy or creating a wealth frequency, because a lot of what we agree with and people have told us, the bankers, the lending institution, the educational system, all of that plays into us not getting a wealthy place or living it out, because we're thinking that we have to have this credit card. I was amazed of the year ago. I applied for a card to just get the frequent flyer, the miles or whatever they're giving me. But I sat there with all six figures, and then I put my daughter in college. She got more credit than me. You know.
Exactly.
So right. The system is set up to get people into that and not help them really. And so I had to get above that and realize this whole, whatever I've heard, I had to dislodge it out of my head. So definitely it has nothing to do how much you make as it is knowing how to come against these things in the system, in this world, in the universe that they have put out that messes with us, and we don't know it. We just assume we have to do this to become mainstream.
And that was so profound what you just said. It's actually more profound beyond even this show. And that is something I'm actually putting into my new book. But we just need to sometimes just say stop, like get off the madness of the 3D world reality and say, why am I doing this? Why do I have any credit cards? Do I need credit cards? Can I pay them off? I mean, we don't even ask like the most basic questions about money. And this is a really dumb illustration, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I'm going through and I'm purging and I'm into this, like I call it, it's my new thing, Shirley. I call it luxury minimalism. I'm starting a trend, but I'm going through all my stuff, and I know, but I'm going through all my stuff, and I come across these cards from one of the most hideous relationships I've ever had. I was in my 30s, and he cheated on me, and he lied, he was abusive, and I'm keeping these Valentine's Day cards like, oh, we're going to be together forever. I love you, sweetheart. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, what is wrong with you? Throw that thing away, which then led me to my why. Why do we buy $6, $7, $8, $9 cards? Like, why? Because we're programmed to, right? We're programmed to buy Valentine's Day cards. They program us in school to do that, Shirley, right? Like, we are so programmed. I'm going to quote something from the book, and then I'm going to let you respond. We are programmed, this is Shirley's words now after the word programmed. We are programmed to be consumer-driven, overindulgent individuals. Talk to me about that.
Oh, just finna get into that. What we have been set up is to be, and we hear it all the time, but we didn't know that they were programming us. We call ourselves consumers. And so when I found myself, my husband and family was in about $80,000 worth of debt. The attorney saying filed bankruptcy, and I just felt like there had to be another way. There had to be somewhere I can either seek God, a universe, or whatever we want to open this thing up to a new global solution about this. It had to be a new system, and that's what I found out. I had to create another system where my brain would create another way to get me out. And when I did, I began to soak, and we'll talk about that later on, I know. But then I recognized that everything around me was causing me to be a consumer still. So I had to become a gated community. I had to gate my eye gates, my ear gates. So that means commercials had to go. Everything so I stopped calling myself a consumer. I call myself a producer. So every dime, every penny I had to someone would help create wealth, keep me healthy to create wealth, or something that I use to produce wealth. So I stopped releasing these frequency and these words over my life that kept me into a consumer mindset. And when I became a producer, that's when things came, wealth came. That's when ideals came that created wealth and got me out of that consumer mode. And
I love this conversation so much. I love you so much.
That's where most people are at. Do not call yourself a consumer from this day forward. You are a producer. Everything that should be going in you should be to produce life to keep you alive, to produce wealth or produce something. So we need to get rid of some of these words that's been put over our lives.
Well, and I love it because the words are coming from who? They're coming from master magicians who manipulate this culture by words and symbols and programming.
Yes.
I say the whole key to this reality is all around you. It's in the words, it's in the symbols, it's in the colors, it's in the numbers, right?
Yes.
And we fall under the spell. We're spelled. That's why we have spelling in school. And so let me read the definition of the word consumer. A person who purchases goods and services, or a person or thing that eats or uses something. Isn't that interesting that the elite call us worthless eaters? That really ties in with the word consumer. And if you think about it, I just read an article that said the fashion industry actually doesn't run on seasons. It runs on 52-week cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you guys know, at the end of this week, you're extinct. Something's out of date and you need to buy something new, right? That's how we are trained. We're also trained, and we can go deeper. We're also trained to eat at least 3 meals a day, right, Shirley?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
What industry does that feed? And you know what I noticed? I was driving by the gas station and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, a gallon of milk, Shirley, is more than a gallon of gas.
Well, see, the reason that this is so, people are so easy to, just fall into this trap is it's this unspoken things. If you go against the system, you're tabooing. But the system keeps you enslaved into this grotesque monsters that keep you bound. And when you try to fight it, you have to fight it with all your might. And that's why I had to spend 80% of my time for 4 years to shift it more in a soaking, cleansing my mind in my home office, working this thing through, getting up between that 2 to 4 o'clock shift. And Dr. Kimberly, in those hours, in the fours, early hours, you got a lot more stimulation in the atmosphere to feed your mind and come up with creative ideals that will come against it. And so I had to dislodge everything in my brain. I commanded my left side of my brain to operate from the original form that God made me. So he said, in your likeness and, image. So there was none of that stuff that the teacher said, that you function out of one side of the brain and the other. I had to get rid of all of that so I could hear clearly where my west streams were and what was hindering me.
And that's one thing I teach too. And we teach it more in the realm of psychic abilities, but it applies to raising your frequency and speaking. It is. It's a consciousness thing. And speaking, learning how to speak things into creation. But one of the things that I check with the tech that we can tell if your right brain's balanced and functioning as it should be, if your left brain's balanced. And here's the clue. Wait for it. And you know this. Do we have access? Your brain can be all pretty little balanced, sending its own individual hemispheres all at once. Do you have access at all times to 100% of your brain?
Access, and we only use so much, and so we have to give it something to do. Basically, that's what I did, Dr. Kimberly. I gave my brain something to do different, and I knew it was going to be a fight for me to create what I needed to create the world that I want. So now I believe in creating the world that I want.
So rich and so much to talk about. Well, some of the things we're going to be talking about as we come out, I really don't want to start another subject with you because you and I can go on, and I know you can go on, but some of the things we're going to talk about as we go in and come out of the next break is we're going to talk about what does this phrase mean? Success leaves clues. Don't answer. We're going to ask Shirley, what does that phrase mean? Success leaves clues. You heard Shirley talk about soaking. What the heck does soaking mean? Soaking in a bathtub? I'll sign up for that. That sounds really great. So we will find out what all that means. So right here on The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, we are talking to Dr. Shirley K. Clark, the author of Blessed and a whole bunch of other wonderful books, How to Attract Wealth into Your Life. And we hope that this conversation will help you attract life into your life. We'll be right back here on The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, soul balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
I am so glad you are listening to The Secret to Everything. This is Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and I am here with my good friend, Dr. Shirley K. Clark, and she is the author of Blessed. I love that word, blessed. Just feel the frequency of that word. The angels come out. Just hold out your hands. Receive that. Receive that blessing, you guys. Blessed, how to attract wealth into your life. And I did a little teaser, so I'm going to deliver because sometimes I get letters. You didn't talk about this. You didn't talk about that because our guests are so amazing and we have so much fun. Sometimes we don't get to everything, but let's discuss one of the phrases from your book, or I think it might be one of your chapters. Success leaves clues. What do you mean by that?
Well, one of the things I've learned that when you're talking about success, that means you're talking about people really. What is it that you mean when that you say about success? That means you've seen someone that, hey, you say they're very successful. So the issue is, what does that define? What is the defining points? What is the tenets there that define that person to be successful? And so there's been a lot of studies, a lot of surveys done on successful people. And so you need to look at those people. What are the tenets? What are those things, those common things in their lives, those threads that run through all of these people we consider successful, that they're doing and that you are not doing, or perhaps you don't know they're doing. And one of the things that I really, one of my best quotes, is that rich people educate themselves, poor people entertain themselves. And so what is it that they are doing? And when you study successful people, you find out they're reading a lot. It's just a matter, every day they're doing something to create something in their brain to stimulate growth. When I found out from a scientific standpoint that every time you learn something new, that there's a stem that grows in your brain. So therefore, I need to stimulate my brain more. So I began to read more. When I found out, not just read anything, read what you want. You have to guard what you want. I believe in you have to get into this thing and just really, like you said, just lay on it. Milk this cow for all it's worth. So if you're saying success leave clues, that means what is the clues for being successful? So rich people educate themselves, poor people entertain themselves, rich people have winning attitudes. You can go on and on. I had to literally put a devotional book together about the difference between the rich and the poor, because when I began to talk like this, you know who came out against me, Dr. Kimberly? Broke people. It wasn't the rich people.
I know. I'm with you.
Broke people came out against me on Facebook. And I said, rich people they take responsibilities for the choices they made in life, and poor people make excuses. I got responses like crazy I said, none of these people are rich or have money, I guarantee it. And they're going to eventually tell me what their excuse is. And that's what happened. I had one, and eventually I just told her very nicely, I give you permission to stay broke and poor, but I can help you if you want to be helped. I have books. I grew up this way. Here, you want to use this or scripture, then I'm going to use this as well. And then eventually, guess what she did, Dr. Kimberly? She started giving me her excuses for being broke. I said, okay. I wanted to say, you said, no. But I said, I'm going to be mature and say, I will help you, but you must invest in your brain. You must invest. Spend the time. And I said, I'm going to send you my books, but you got to get in my training for 90 days. To ask me how long did she stay? Less than 30 days. So most people are not going to do the work to change. So success leave clues. That means finding those things that people that you said are successful. What is that common thread that all of them, or the majority of them, are doing, and do what they do. Stop doing what you was doing, and do something different. And that would create, of course, a different outcome.
Absolutely. And one of the things you talk about in chapter 2, you talk about it's really important that people are financially free. And some people might think you're actually joking with that statement. What are you talking about? Is it possible in this day and age with our cars and our mortgages and our houses and our credit cards and our kids and our dogs, is it possible to be financially free?
Yes, it is. Again, that goes back to what we talked about earlier, is that you've got to get out of this system that's been placed. They say, well, there's no way I can get a car without, a car payment. No way I can get a home without, paying 30-year mortgage. No way. Who told you that? Who told us all of this? Bankers. Bankers told us this. All of the systems. Everybody. Why is it their money when you go and borrow their money, they tax you, they give you more. You got to, pay this interest. But if you do the other way around, they give you less. So why is that money more important than yours? So you must understand that everything that they've told us, it was really not really for us. It was for them, even though they said it. So we can live differently. There are people that are taking challenges on. Here's the difference in me at this point. I found that I wanted wealth to be able to sow, and I talk about that a chapter in my book. Is that I want to be able to create not just my world, but to help other people. And so when you get into that sowing side of it, then the things come. There's a scripture that talks about it, because I'm a very spiritual person, that talks about when you give, then the things will come. So houses. So let me say this, jewelry, cars, all of that has been given to me. The stuff that people, the middle class and poor people buy, rich people, all that stuff get given to them most of the time. Houses, land. And so most of us spend all our life trying to get money to buy this stuff. And so we've got to now think higher and say, my money is for sowing, is for giving and doing other things, and that other stuff will come. So I've had diamond rings, $12,000 given to me, a whole car, Mercedes-Benz, because I sold into it. My money raised, I came to a level of income. I was able to give $20,000 away. And then I got my Mercedes-Benz given to me. They shipped it to me. I didn't pay anything. So we're paying houses off now. Again, the system told us all of that stuff. And so we really can believe and release. I keep saying there's a global solution inside of us, that if we was believe for the big thing. What's got me started, Dr. Kimberly, was when I was broke, the first thing I read in a book, it said that the day that you decide to become wealthy or become a millionaire, the universe will come in alignment with you to make it happen. So why can't I believe for my house? Why can't I believe for my cars? Why can't I believe for all of that? It says we just have to ask the big question.
Well, and here's the thing about you, because, obviously I can read your energy, but you at that point or close to that point, or as you continued growing, you actually didn't just believe it. Like, we can say, I believe this chair will hold me up, but until we sit in that chair, it's just BS, right? And so you have backed your believing. I just heard you talking about the principle of sowing, which is actually a biblical principle, and probably some other historical, cultural principles as well, but the karmic principle, of course. Yes. But you talked about giving $20,000 away, but you didn't give, I do not believe, to receive. And one of the things I've noticed about me that's different from 5 years ago is 5 years ago, my goal was to be one of those internationally known people that had mansions and vacations and cars. And I did go out and I purchased, and actually I didn't purchase on credit, which is yay for me, but I purchased, a new car with cash. That's not necessarily the wisest financial decision either. That's another conversation. But, and I'm like, I've made it. But after I did that, do you know how quickly the rush of buying that new sports car with cash wore off? It was so quick, you wouldn't even believe it. I swear it might have been 2 weeks. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I need to start looking for my dream home. It's just one thing after another. And that's such a pattern. But this is how I know that I'm truly wealthy, because I got really deep down inside of me, and each one of you are different what wealth means to you, and you're going to totally understand this, Shirley. But guess what wealth means to me? It doesn't mean mansions. It doesn't mean a castle in Austria. It doesn't mean a pool. It doesn't mean a Bentley. What wealth means to me, Shirley, is freedom. Every morning.
That's it. That's
Every
it.
morning when my feet hit the floor, I know I
That's
have a
it.
glorious day ahead. Why? Because I am working in my gifting, I am working in my
Yes.
passion. It
Yes.
is fun. It doesn't matter if I make zero or I make $1 million in that day because I am in the center of my being. I am centered. I am on fire. I have a spiritual connection. I have a
Right.
connection outward, and I have peace inside. That is wealth, Shirley.
Well, there's a saying that's saying your career is what you paid for, but your calling is what you made for. And we need to get people away from all these careers that they just paid for and never tapping into what they called to. And therefore, the peace come. I remember the day, Dr. Kimberly, when I woke up finally, the debt was gone in 2 years after laying out, and we're going to talk, like you said, about soaking more. 2 years, supernaturally out, things came, and I just refused to pay anybody $80,000. I knew I had not in credit cards. I knew we had not spent that, but do the penalties and all those things
Yep.
for being laid off my husband, things to cause that to come up, that the bill to be that high. But I refused to do that, to give it back into a system that corrupted me and caused me to be indulging like that. And you would say, well, you need to be disciplined. But I'm telling you, that consumer spirit is out here to get you
Yes.
to keep buying. Go have your way.
Yes.
You want to go on a trip, and we must admit that this is hard to break out of that. And so, for me, the houses, all of that stuff, it's a byproduct, what I'm trying to say. It will happen. If you want it, it'll happen. But you're not set up for that anymore. Your goal is higher. Because whether you give, I don't care who it is, Oprah Winfrey, anybody, Bill Gates, that law of sowing and reaping comes back to you. And that's all I want, to be able to have that freedom. Wealth give you freedom. You have options. And that's what I want people on who's listening today to know, that you can have freedom. It's about having freedom and options.
Oh, I love that. And you would have wished for that when you were younger. And, and your mom, I'm sure, would have just given everything, for her to have freedom and her children to have that freedom as well. I love how you say it in the book. I just want to say it because you say it so succinctly. You say the creditors, they pay you less to use your money and they charge you more to use theirs. I just really thought that was well said. I never really thought about it that way, because I'll go to invest and I'll be like, what do you mean 1%? Like, what do you
Right.
mean 1%? And then even a good interest rate is like what, 3, 4, 5, in there.
So
Like
low.
I'm like, what? When we go to buy something, like, how come they get 5 times what we get? It's crazy. It is really a system created and owned by the proverbial them, which most of us on this radio show know to be the elite, know to be, and most of us that are spiritual actually know that it's even deeper than that, and that, possibly horrific spiritual beings overrun the whole thing. And so it's very ingenious. It's very seductive. It's very deliberate. But here's the hope that Shirley is saying, right, Shirley? You can
It's
have
true.
freedom.
What
You
I
can't
want
say
people
no.
to do right, and Dr. Kimberly, it is that we just need to be educated in a different system. That's all. And realize that, yeah, you can get all of this stuff. But, I recognized I came from gross poverty. And so what was when I came through this system coming up, the ranks, and said, then you need to get the American dream. But when I found out, when I married, I consider I married up. My husband's family were all educators, and they are a medical doctor here, and judge, different
Okay.
people like.
Hey, Shirley, I'm going to cut you off. We have to go to a quick break, and we will finish your story when we come back on The Secret to Everything, and we will talk about soaking right here on The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
This is the Exxon Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Manifestation, prayer, riches, abundance. Are these words that interest you? Then stay till the end of this conversation and rewind this or catch another airing if you didn't hear it the first time, because I am here with Dr. Shirley K. Clark, and we are talking about all things wealth, manifestation, and abundance. And I cut you off, and I didn't know if you wanted to quickly finish your story, Shirley, before we run out of time in this hour, and then tell us, you've teased us the whole program with the word soaking. So if you want to just wrap up your story, then tell us what the heck is soaking.
Look, we don't talk about what was I talking about? Because I was about being raising the family.
Yeah, you married. You said you married up.
Yeah, I'm married. The bottom line is, I was talking about married. Okay, Kim, back me up because I was going to go straight on into the soaking for me if you wanted me to. Because
Okay,
that is
go
so
for it.
critical.
Let's do it because we don't have that much time. So let's go there.
Yeah, that I really wanted to hit on that because many people are doing it, but I'm not sure if they're tapping into what they need to while they're there. And that was one of the really incredible parts that shifted my life. When I began to change, I decided that I was going to, create a system to shift my life from get that 80,000 off of me and get my marketplace anointing to fall upon me that I could hear. So I found out I had to get up between 2 and 4, and I decided how can I tap into that where my mind would get clear. I lay out, and we've heard yoga and all these things you do. But it really works. But I want to say to people more than anything, do not just go down. I went from 2 to 4 for 4 years, deliberately going down, specifically for my wealth and marketplace money, anointing off of the floor. I went down for it because sometimes people just lay out just to get your mind clear. That's all great. But you need to know why you're down there. There's a tapping in that you. So I laid out in the early mornings from 2 to 4, just music playing, soaking, laying there quiet with music on, and you can get all kinds of soaking prophetic sounds off of YouTube. And so I did that all the time. I kept it on when I got up off the floor. I would hear stuff. I would hear creative ideals. We hear about how to do this graphics design, how to create more money, wealth off the floor. So I went down for money, and I went down because I wanted more ideals so I can come up and create the money and wealth. And that's what I did repeatedly, every day. And then when I was up off the floor, I had the music going on at all time in a meditation mode that would create things to hear. And I tell people, trust me, they know about Google. The universe, God knows about Google, because I will get up, I'm trying to think about something and say, go Google it. And I get off of and I see something. I create a new package. So I started offering $10,000 package deals in my service because of what I was getting off of the floor in that time of being quiet, taking my notebook and pen and paper down on the floor. And
okay, I just want to be really clear here. So, because some people may not have been listening, so I want to review this really clearly. Soaking, as we're talking about it, means, right. And you chose between 2 and 4 in the morning. Am I right? I'm saying
That's
this
correct.
Right. And you laid out on the floor. I just want to be really clear because I'm going to get a million letters saying, "How do I do this?" I'm going to say, "Ask Shirley because I told you." Rewind. Download it. Rewind. No, I'm just teasing you guys. I'll be happy to help you too. But so you laid out on the floor and you either played nature sounds or spiritual choruses.
That's exactly
or
right.
songs or classical music or whatever or nothing. And you laid
I really
out.
didn't go into classical. I really stayed into different sounds. And
okay.
You're right. The natural sounds, the things that you hear, they just playing music. They're hearing it and playing it. Julie, actually, I have a book called Praying for Rich. I outline every step when I came up.
There you go.
What I did, I've given the artists in it and all of that. They can go to my website and that book gives them everything. I could not afford, so go right ahead. Anything else? Yes. I stayed away from like classical sounds. I was more into the nature sounds that sound, you can say even mystical sounds, to get me in where I need to tap into my wealth streams.
Right. And then you got inspiration and ideas and you kind of went into creation mode when you came out of that. And maybe it didn't happen every time and maybe it did. And again, I want to encourage you guys, if you try this, to go to our website. You can hook up with Shirley. You can get her books. You can find out how she did it. But I always encourage each and every one of you to always be very individual. And even though Shirley it's very useful to start, I think, with probably music you recommended, because if we don't know about this, then what else would we start with? But if you guys are into jazz, use jazz. If you guys are into heavy metal, use heavy metal. I actually think whatever takes you there for you and your frequency and where you're at in life is a good thing. So I don't think Shirley, and I know her well enough to be able to say this, she's not going to say this is like the only method that's going to get like great results, right?
No, that's one of the things that I'm glad you said that, Dr. Kimberly, because this is just one method that worked for me. So there are other ways of doing this, but I know this is one way, and I want to make sure people at least do what I did, or use whatever frequency it takes you, to get you where you need to be. And thank you for saying that, Dr. Kimberly.
And Shirley and I could talk like for 8 years about everything and nothing. It sounds like. So we are going to wrap it up here, but I want to make sure you have a chance to tell them what is your current program, just a little bit about it, your website, and anything else you want to say, how to get a hold of you on social media.
They can go to Shirley Clark on Facebook, and then I always tell people just Google Dr. Shirley Clark, or that's my website, Dr. Shirley Clark, and that's without the period after the DR, no period, drshirleyclark.org. And you can I got tons of websites because of the business side grew so much when I came off of this soaking time. And so all my tools are on Amazon. Put my name in, you'll see all the tools. So definitely get the book Blessed, but Pray and Grow Richer would be a great tool for them to get, because that outlines what I did during those 4 years to really shift me.
Yeah, and you guys want freedom from the beast system. You want freedom from the world. You want freedom from your lives that are binding you and crushing you and enslaving you and are boring you. You want joy. You want peace. You want freedom. Here's a tool. Is it the only tool? No. Is it one tool? Yes. Is this a woman who's walking her talk? Yes. And that's why we're having her on Secret to Everything. You guys know I only present you with authentic people that I have verified using my technology and my own intuitive gifts and abilities and prayed about to bring to you. So that is why I'm recommending her as a person of authenticity and integrity. And she has a whole bunch of books that we don't have time to talk about. So give your website one more time, Shirley.
drshirleyclark.org. drshirleyclark.org. And like I said, no period after the DR. And that you just go there and go under my ebook store, and you'll see all that's going on.
Yeah, go download some good reading material for your 2 to 4 time tonight, you guys, as you lay on the floor. Gosh, Shirley, that's like when I'm going to bed. I might have to try this. I'm kind of afraid what might happen to me. I don't know if I can live anymore in creation.
Dr. Kimberly, you have so much. I could not do everything that I was getting. But I do want to just say quickly, I know your time is winding up, is that be very careful about the music you do listen to or whatever. If you get into where the words are, because sometimes we pick songs that depict where we are, and you don't want to do that, to tell your
Great
story.
Point.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff, to reinforce where you are. You don't want that, and that's one of the things I have to deal with, people wanting to get songs to talk about where they are. You don't want that to celebrate. You're trying to shift where you are.
And I think that's an awesome point. So maybe even pick things that you wouldn't normally listen to, or things with positive. And like I said, check out, I'm sure Shirley gives a whole bunch of examples, and check out her method. So thank you so much for being with us on The Secret to Everything. We'll have to have you back. It's my pleasure.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure, being on the program today. Thank you so very much.
Many blessings to you, my friend. We'll talk soon. All right. So you guys asked for it. You wanted more calls on wealth and abundance, and that was a doozy. Honestly, I have heard of a lot of tools for creating and wealth and abundance, and I am not familiar with soaking. So I may have to try that. I can just see my dogs and my kids. Mom, what are you doing laying on the floor? But if it works, it's worth a try, right, you guys? I also wanted to tell you about a new program of mine. You guys have also been begging for a program on intuition and psychic abilities. I have not done a class on psychic abilities for good 4 or 5 years, and we are doing the magic of intuition, which is for everyone. You don't think you're intuitive, you are. You don't think you're psychic, you are. You don't think you can hear, see, know, read timelines, remote view. I am telling you, you all were born with those abilities, and we're going to have so much fun discovering it. I threw the links up on my Secret to Everything webpage, on my Facebook. As always, we switched our free gift. Now we will look at your chakras if you sign up for that free gift, and you can go to my website, secrettoeverything.com. It's the pop-up that comes up right on the front page. As always, I encourage you, a little slice of the tech I use, we've put into our app called Energy Mastered. It will be available soon on the Google Play Store, but right now you can get it again on my website. There's a whole panel. You can just click on that and read more about that and start playing with colors and chakras and auras and frequencies, because why? Energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. Energy and frequency will tell you anything you want to know, show you how to get there, turn on your abilities, and so much more. So thank you so much, as always, for listening. We love you guys. Keep writing in, keep giving us feedback. I am Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. Join us next time for another episode of The Secret to Everything.